All right, so I'm gonna get straight to the point. This video is about Killmonger. It's about Killmonger. We're doing a character analysis, a character evaluation, if you will, about Killmonger. And hold on, let me close the door. My cats are going in and out of here like it's Grand Central Station. You know what I'm saying? Um, and my wife is here, so this is a WTW video. Say hi, wife.
Hi.
Um, I think it's been a long day for all of us, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get straight to the point. I told my wife one of us really has to be like, one of us can be Mr. Duality or Mrs. Duality, but the other one has to really tell, like, have a stance on this. And I'll be the person to have that stance. Because my wife sees a little different. She sees the character differently than I do. Killmonger's a bad guy. He is a bad guy. What he did cannot be forgiven. You know.
Pause. We need to say that we are talking about Killmonger in the Marvel Cinematic
Yes,
Universe.
we are talking about Killmonger in the cinematic universe. We are not comic book nerds like that. I am a comic book geek. I would say that's different between a comic book nerd, because a comic book nerd would be like this and blah 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 happened in the issue. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know all that, and I don't feel bad about that because, like I said, I didn't read comics like that growing up. I think comics are awesome. More than anything, I just love the stories. But cinematic Killmonger, he's a bad guy, folks. I've heard a lot of people, I've heard people say, "Oh no, he's not a bad guy," blah blah blah. But no, nope, he's a bad guy. I'll give you guys reasons. My cat, she's playing with the, she's playing with. My thoughts on why he's a bad guy. He can't. First off, I should say he can't help what happened in the past with his father. His father was trading information with Ulysses Claw, and he was an arms dealer. And as a result of that happening, the border of Wakanda was blown up. So Ninjobu, he's actually he's a bad guy too. He's a bad guy too because he went against the country. He went against Wakanda, his peaceful country, and was selling weapons vibranium to outsiders. And vibranium is the most powerful metal in this world, in the Marvel universe, and that type of power in the wrong hands, especially Ulysses Claw. I mean, if you guys seen Black Panther, that guy's despicable. Yeah, and so that happening, Ninjobu was a bad guy, man. He was radicalized, and he was putting the safety of, he put the safety of Wakanda in danger. He put the safety of America in danger, and he said that he wanted to. Ninjobu said that he wanted to make a difference. He was saying, I'm in America, and I see the crime and the drugs, they're plaguing our communities. We're being over policed. We need all these weapons in order to make a difference. But do the ends justify the means? I honestly think more people would have got killed. More innocent people would have got killed as a result of vibranium fueled weapons being on American streets and being on Wakanda streets. I think more innocent people would have died as he tried to prove his point and tried to, try to stop, police brutality, because innocent people are going to die on both sides at that point. Crazy about that is Killmonger ended up partnering with the same guy that his father did. That's crazy. He was following in his father's footsteps. He got radicalized, and then he got militarized. And so, yeah, man. And yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about Njobu in that situation right there, man?
I mean, everything you said is right, but I feel like he was pushed to that limit of we need to do something radically different because generations of Wakanda kings were we cannot and will not exchange with the world. And so,
Right.
you know, a lot of the issues that were brought up in that movie were based on the poor decisions of generations and generations and generations of Wakanda kings to not even remotely trade with the rest of the world, and that caused the situation that we're in here today. And we cannot talk about just the transgressions of Njobu. We also have to talk about the transgressions of T'Chaka, because he left that boy alone in America by himself after killing his father.
Yeah.
That is not okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's just like when you think about how that happened, man. It reminds me of an African proverb, and people actually have been attaching it to Killmonger's character. You know, the African proverb went something like, you know, if the child of the village doesn't feel like welcome, then he'll bask in like the flames of the village being burned down. Something to that effect. He'll bask in the village being destroyed if he's not welcomed in the village. Yeah. And that's what happened, you know. T'Chaka never really had the answer for his transgressions in that aspect. The only time he really got lectured was when there's a scene when they go to the astral plane, where, you know, T'Challa goes to the astral plane and he basically lectures the rest of the kings, the past kings, and he's like, how could you guys close off Wakanda when so many other people, our brothers and sisters, were being enslaved and this and that? And I was like, man, like, right, you know what I'm saying? I feel that. And then there's another side of me that's like, well, man, they were just trying to, you know, self-preservation, you know what I'm saying? I get that too. And it's just like, you know.
That's why I think there was just a lot of gray characters, which made it
Yeah.
a really good movie.
There's great characters.
They tried to humanize and create, you know.
But Killmonger was a bad guy, though.
I mean, but they tried to do the same thing with Thanos. You know, they tried to, you know, with the Soul Stone. So they always, I mean, that's one of the things that makes Marvel great. Is
they did try to humanize Thanos, but Thanos was evil. He was absolutely evil to try to...
I'm not saying he's not.
Not even to try to destroy half of the universe, but to successfully do it.
But that's why the MCU is so powerful right now, is because they're creating compelling bad guys.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
and there's some points.
It's part of the algorithm of the MCU to create, you know, a morally shifted character, but, you know, they still operate in the gray.
I mean, no, I just think Killmonger's a bad guy. Just the fact that, you know, what happened to him as a kid, he can't do nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? He can't change it. That was wrong. You know, his uncle killed his father. You know, he killed his father and just left him stranded. So we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't look at my cat. Look at it. In the midst of talking about, you know, T'Chaka and Killmonger, and me talking mad shit about Killmonger, because he's a bad guy, whatever. I think it's appropriate to talk shit about Killmonger, you know, even though I have this awesome toy of his. You know what I'm saying? I like that they got that mask right there. That looks crazy. You know what I mean? I got the Killmonger action figure. And I got the T'Chaka. I got the T'Chaka action figure too. You know what I mean? Thought that's pretty dope. I don't open these, you guys. I just have them there. You know what I'm saying? I just have them there because I like them and they're dope. You know, only got a couple of them. Yeah, man. Where we at? What are we talking about? What was the line of thought we were trying to
There's just the fact upon? That Marvel Cinematic Universe villains are great.
There's great characters, there's complex characters. I mean,
and that's what makes them
I really feel like, you know, for the longest when I was thinking of themes for this video, you know, the one that really came to my head was Sins of the Father. Sins of the Father, which both T'Challa has to Killmonger has to pay for. Um, Specifically, as far as T'Challa is concerned, his father killed his uncle, and they kept that a secret for the longest. Um, a secret that came back home and almost split the country of Wakanda apart. No, it did split the country of Wakanda apart. Um, Killmonger's father, he was a weapons dealer, and uh, as a result, that was a crime against Wakanda. He committed a crime against his own country, which is treason, and that came back. That came back, in the form of Killmonger being mad that his father was killed by the king, and that was probably the only. That was probably the only thing that I agreed with. You know what I'm saying, as far as Killmonger's, thought process. I feel like he needed some comeuppance with that, because his father was murdered. Now, you could say, well, he shouldn't have a claim to the throne or a claim to revenge because his father, committing crimes and committing treason against his own country. That kind of makes his claim to the throne null and void. But that's a little hairy. You know what I'm saying?
But nobody knows about it because
right, no one knows about it, right? Because
T'Chaka
kept it a secret for so long.
Secret, so nobody knows. So they're thinking, okay, well, there's this guy that's coming up, and he's got the ring, and he's got the tattoo.
For some reason, I wanted to just shout out, "I found my daddy dead with panther claws in his chest." You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was the only thing I was feeling with him. Because he, for me, they said that he was like MIT. He was with a very lethal and deadly black ops group or something like that. And he used his skills as far as like all the skills he learned from that, which is going to a country, destabilize it, create civil war, destroy the rulers. He used that in Wakanda. It solidifies my thought process. Like he did that against his own people. He went into his birth country, created civil war, killed the king. You know what I'm saying? Which I mean, he tried to kill the king. And that he had every right to try to combat T'Challa, because that's in their their tradition. But everything else was just crazy, man. It's like, dude, like there's no way I could look at him as a good guy doing all that, or even a morally great character. Like he was out for blood, and he had to be stopped because Wakanda's a peaceful country. And when he got there, he tried to have war again. He tried to create mass war against the whole world.
Which was kind of similar to his dad's goals.
Yeah, his dad wanted to
give weapons to war dogs all over the world, and
yeah, man,
kind of what his kid did. So
that goes back to the sins of the father. Now, did Killmonger have to do what he did? No, he didn't have to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? But revenge, revenge was deep within him. The fire of revenge was deep within him, so much to the point where he almost destroyed his home country as a result. But yeah, man, very interesting. And I want to get some points out the way, man. There's definitely some notes that I took that I want to get off my chest. You know what I mean? Killmonger's dad, he wanted to do all this stuff. He saw it as a means to an end. They made a point to show that it was happening in the early 1990s. And if about the 1990s in American history, man, it was a time of a lot of racial upheaval, riots, police brutality, things of that nature. So they really picked a sweltering time, tumultuous time to really get the message across. And yeah, but as a result of Ninjobu, becoming radicalized, he just threatened the national security of Wakanda and America. And yeah. And then he died. He was murdered by his brother. And that came back to haunt Wakanda. Because, yeah. And what else? So Killmonger's real name is Injidaka. Injidaka. I feel like I'm butchering that. But anyways, what I thought was a really cool scene and that made me, it's probably really the only scene that I really psychoanalyzed, but when Killmonger beats T'Challa initially in hand-to-hand combat, throwing him off the about to say the roof, throwing him off the waterfall, and then later on he becomes the Black Panther. They go through the ceremony. He's buried in the sand, and then they go to this, they go to a different realm, right? They go to a different realm.
Ancestral plane.
Yeah, the ancestral plane. But it's vastly, but his travels to the astral plane is vastly different than T'Challa's, right? Where T'Challa, he sees all his ancestors and they're welcoming. All his ancestors are welcoming. That's the thing. They're welcoming and there's that connection. Whereas when Killmonger travels to that astral plane realm, he's in his apartment. He's getting things out of the closet, that belonged to his father, the necklace with the ring on it. There's a book with a lot of stuff written in Wakandan. But the most interesting part of that is while he's doing this, we can see outside of his window. And outside of his window, you see the astral plane realm, right? You see the astral realm of, grasslands, and for me, that symbolizes Africa. Obviously, it symbolizes Wakanda. And the apartment symbolizes America. And I think it shows that separation, right? It shows that separation. It really, for me, it's kind of like, it's a representation of the African American diaspora. And, that's why that scene is one of the most powerful scenes to me in the whole entire movie, man. It's the only scene, that scene and the scene where T'Chaka kills his brother, those are some of the most compelling scenes to me because they really, they really show, turning points in the movie, But yeah, it was a great movie, man. It was a great movie, and I'm glad that we actually got this done. I thought my wife was gonna say a little more. I thought she was gonna say a whole lot more, but we covered the bases. We covered the bases. What do you think, babe?
I think we did a good job.
I think so too. And I got all the details that I wanted to get out, Yeah.